ladies and gentlemen, get those dollars ready. Coming up next to the stage on the OtherGround podcast, it's your host, Passive J and Ryan.
Good afternoon, and welcome to yet another edition of OtherGround Live. I'm Passive J. That's Ryan over there. Say hi, Ryan.
It is Sunday, May 24th, and I have absolutely nothing. How's it going, Jay?
Not too bad, sir. Not too bad. I see the OG Army is forming up in the chat box. Always happy to see you guys. Oh, Jesus Christ. I guess it's the holiday weekend, huh?
It is.
Yeah, I didn't really notice. The governor made it official at some point that we don't go back until June 12th and extended the actual state of emergency to June 19th. So I think that means I go back to work in a couple weeks, or possibly 3 weeks, or possibly she'll extend it again. And this permanent weird-ass vacation that I'm on is going to go on forever. Dude, it's so surreal, dude. I just want to go back to work. It's too much time off. You have to be super duper rich to really appreciate really long extended times off. Otherwise, you just sit around the house a lot and don't do fucking anything.
Yeah, so we officially ended ours on the 20th. The problem is I found out actually yesterday, so I have to go do emissions on my cars because they're coming up, and apparently the emissions place is still shut down, which they give you like a 180-day waiver anyway because of all this, but I just wanted to get some shit done for once.
Right, exactly. And that's another thing on top of not being rich and be able to do whatever you want because of the quarantine and stuff. There's lots of things that you can't do. Funnily enough, most of the things that don't cost a lot of money. Me and the wife aren't outdoor people, so when we wanted to spend some time together, we'd like walk around the mall and shit like that, or go to a movie together. That was our together time thing. And they've removed all of that from our life now. So we've been trying to find movies and TV shows that we both like, but there's nothing. So we're growing apart, and I blame the quarantine.
So you're a pair of old mall walkers, is what you're saying.
Kind of. We don't do it that often. We don't actually like leaving the house all that much. We're pretty good just hanging out at home at this stage in our life. But no, every once in a while that we do like to get out. Like she'll force me to go see a movie, and I'll make sure that we do it on like a Monday at 10 a.m. So there's no possible way that there'll be anybody else in the theater. Or like we'd like to go out to eat every once in a while, as opposed to just ordering in or making it ourselves. Now, we make it an event. Like we'll go to the Red Lobster. I know it's the McDonald's of seafood, but we enjoy it. And drop like a fucking $100, which still amazes me that you can do that at some place like Red Lobster. Like not really a super duper expensive place, but you can drop $100 at Red Lobster for two people fairly easy.
You could also spend that exact same $100 at a good restaurant.
Yes and no, but you got to remember at the Red Lobster, we're getting, two meals that cost somewhere between $20 and $30. Then we're probably going to get like an extra lobster tail each or something like that. Because when we go, we splurge, and then we might have one or two drinks each. And the drinks are anywhere between $5 and $10. So it's really easy to get up to like a $60, $70, $80 bill. And I'm going to leave them at least $20 for a tip if it's around that kind of money. So once again, despite the fact that it's not super expensive, there it's easy to get to close to $100 if you're not being, if you're not watching what you're spending, I guess.
Goddamn, pal, we got to get you away from Red Lobster, and we also need to get you to embrace what Ruthie's saying in the chat and like get the fuck away from electronics in your house and like just be a human for like a day.
And we do that every once in a while. Like we'll take the dogs for a walk, or we'll go to the park. But neither of us are huge outdoor people. She likes camping. I'm not so much, but she likes, the type of camping where you get like a pop-up camper behind that you pull behind your vehicle and things like that, which I'm not opposed to, but we're not in a spot to buy something like that right now. And neither of us are interested in like tent camping. At the age of 47 sometime soon, I am not lying on the forest ground anymore. It's just not going to happen because I'm not that woodsy in the first place. I can understand if I was like some big outdoor person, you could make sacrifices on your sleeping situations and your comfort for a day or two. But since I'm not, I don't see any reason to do so.
You are the most shut-in individual I think I've ever heard of.
You've never met my mom. She is the most shut-in individual that you would have ever met. She didn't like going outside. She didn't mind going outside of like her house, like her yard and stuff, but she didn't like going to places. She refused to drive on the highway because once she got in the wrong lane and ended up like in a different state, she wouldn't drive if it was raining or snowing out, or if it was nighttime. She really had like two friends for her last 30 or 40 years of life. And she, like I said, very rarely left the house other than to do shopping. Her cars always ended up being 10 years old with 20,000 miles on them and shit like that.
God damn.
But that regardless, we're not being outdoor people. That does limit our things, and so we'll go to like the park every once in a while. And you got to also remember that the sun is my enemy. I have to lather up very profusely with some sort of sun tan lotion or sunblock. Otherwise, I'm going to burn very badly.
We really need to do like the week-long thing of you just not doing technology outside of this. Just see how your life is. It's like you seem so stuck on being connected.
No, I love being connected. It's the outdoor world, the outside world brought to me on my terms. I think that's what I like about it the most. Anyways, so being the holiday weekend, did you do anything today or did you just chill?
No, I didn't do a ton. Spent some time out just kind of relaxing on the deck in the hammock, let the dogs run around a little bit. It wasn't too nice here. Like, it was super overcast yesterday. Got a little bit of sun today. Still only got up to just right about 70. So still wasn't a good day to like go hang out on the beach or something like that. So just enough to where I could just ignore electronics and just enjoy being outside with some fresh air.
For us, it's actually warm. It's hot. It's somewhere between 84 and 86 right now. I'm sitting here in a pair of cargo shorts and no shirt for the mental image. And we are already having our air conditioners put up into our windows and such like that. Well, actually, mine's already in the window of my room and is on, cooling the room down. I don't mind being this warm when I'm out and about or awake, but when I'm sleeping, I'm not about that shit. I need it at least 70 or as like the max. After 70 or so, I start getting uncomfortable.
I don't know how anyone does not having central air. Like, I would lose my shit.
Well, there's one in the living room, a bigger one and a smaller one in my bedroom. So between the two of them, it normally cools down the house fairly well. Again, remember, it's only a like 980 square foot house. It's big. It's bigger to us right now since we're in outdoor mode. So we have the doors open to our breezeway and outside an inner porch and a front porch and such. But tomorrow, when the air conditioning goes into full effect, all that shit will be closed up and they'll be back to a 987 square foot house. So I mean, it doesn't have much problems. It doesn't add a ton to our electric bill. Apparently less than the central air does, which I thought would be the other way around. I thought that was one of the main reasons to get central air, because it's got to be cheaper than running multiple window units, and that might be the case on a bigger house, but in our case, not so much. Even in the summer, our electrical bills don't get much above $100 or maybe $120 a month. That might go up now with the hot tub, because turns out the hot tub for March was fucking $100 to run that fucker.
Good Lord. Yeah. I'm used to having a little bit of an increased electric bill during the warm months, but that's because I'm that guy that during the summer has the AC set to about, 65. Then in the winter, I have the heat set to like 59. Like I like it right around 60 degrees year round. So it kind of offsets, right? Like my heating bill in the winter isn't as bad as most people, but my electric bill in the summer is way worse.
Well, being this is a small house and it's actually well insulated, if you take the hot tub out of the equation, because I'm not sure how that's going to work out now that it's getting warmer and this, that, and the other. Normally in the summer, it's about $100 electric bill, somewhere between $100 and $120, and like obviously no gas bill. in the like $5 or $10 or whatever. In the winter, it's probably about $70 for my gas bill and about 50 or 60 for my electrical bill. So year in or year out, my total gas and electrical bills normally around $120 a month. So, which I think is pretty reasonable. That one of the reasons that it is like that is because when I bought this house, I insulated the shit out of this motherfucker. Both the main house and above the breezeway have a ridiculous amount of blown-in insulation.
Yeah, you're an expert about blowing.
And while it's an old house, which means it does not traditionally have insulation on the sides like they have in some of their newer ones, and I'm not really interested in them trying to cut holes into it and blow it into the individual things. It is a house built in 1930 when they built them a lot more stout. And it has plasterboard walls, not drywall, which are a lot thicker and heavier. So I believe that contributes to the efficiency of the house as well. Excuse me. And I have exactly 4 windows I need to replace. All the rest of them have been replaced with at least fairly modern windows to help with the efficiency. There's two in my den that I haven't replaced because they're weird, and then 2 in an inner porch that I haven't been worried about because they don't affect the efficiency of the house since they're enclosing a unheated space. I just want to replace those because the old ones look like shit.
So, other than the joys of home ownership, what you got for topics here today, Jay?
Sorry, ran a little bit long on that one. We were talking about you mentioned your dogs, and me and my wife were talking the other day, and she's under the, I believe, mistaken notion that our dogs are friends. Just because like they lie next to each other when they're sleeping and shit like that. And I was trying to explain to her that in no uncertain terms, our dogs are not friends. They're competitors with each other for our love and food. But she's kind of delusional about that. Are your dogs friends?
Absolutely, they are. So
yeah,
and you can see it too. Like, so I don't even take the time to like feed them separately. I'll just feed them together. Like they'll take turns. One will like basically watch the other one's back while they're eating. Like they're great as far as like playing with each other. One will bring a toy up to the other one and get them going back and forth. So yeah, they're a good match.
Yeah, mine not so much. And it's not like they hate each other and they're like constantly biting each other and causing each other harm. But it's like this. Sadie is a very neurotic little dog. Before we got Lulu, the only time you would hear anything aggression out of Sadie is if the cat happened to walk by while Sadie had something. Sadie wouldn't attack him or anything like that, but she would growl, get away from me, get away from my thing. We used to make jokes about it. We were like, dude, Sam has no interest in your chew toy. He's not going to take that. Problem being, since then we've gotten a dog that makes her paranoia completely justified because Lulu wants whatever Sadie has. It doesn't matter whether Lulu actually wants it or not. If she sees that Sadie has it, she wants to get it from her. And it's really, I think, been not healthy for my dog Sadie mentally to have gotten this dog Lulu because it fucks with exactly what her problems were. Now all her paranoia is completely justified because there is someone out to get her at any moment.
Well, and part of it doesn't help with you guys, right? Like, so your situation, like you're around quite a bit, it seems, like one or the other of you. Whereas me, like, if not for this whole COVID thing, like I'm gone quite a bit, so they kind of need each other in that way.
Right, and it'll get back to that. They experienced that briefly. We got Lulu last October, so October, November, and December we were gone all the time, which Lulu's not a big fan of. She's got very bad separation anxiety. She doesn't like really tear stuff up or anything like that, but she like when you come back, she freaks out and needs to be like right up in your shit for like several hours before she decides that you're actually back for good, which is understandable. It comes from her being abandoned in the first place. But yeah, I just wish they got along better and they didn't. Their personalities meshed better because in a lot of ways they are a good set from at least as pets go, because Lulu loves to be petted. She loves to be loved on. She wants to be up in your grill all the time. Sadie doesn't give a shit about being petted. I mean, she wants to be next to you, like she'll lie in the crook of your leg or something like that. Or when you sleep, she wants to sleep in the same bed as you, but she doesn't want to be petted. She doesn't really give a shit about like anything like that. She just wants you to throw the ball get her the treat that you're supposed to be getting her, or playing tug of war. I've never seen a dog not care about physical affection before like that.
Some are kind of that way, but yeah, that's a little odd.
Yeah, like she's a good dog, but as I've mentioned before, I'm not sure if this pit bull chihuahua mix is going to be good long term, either physically or mentally. Mentally, it's not too bad, but I feel I'm in the odd situation where I feel bad for my dog most of the time. Like she's not a happy dog; she's normally a worried, kind of sad dog.
Well, you have a mutant dog. Like those two breeds don't really mix.
Yeah, and of course, I over emotionalize things too. I'm already really attached to them. I've told my wife I'm resentful that she's gotten these dogs because of the heartbreak that I'm sure is going to happen like 10 or 12 years from now. I'm like, I didn't want to have to go through that. So, but I love them now. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a selfish way to look at things.
Yeah, I'm a selfish person. I really am when it comes right down to it. On to other funnier topics, I read a article today that apparently Charles Barkley played a game of basketball while he was drunk for the Sixers. Did you read anything about that?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it was kind of a different culture back then.
Well, no, it's not quite that bad. Apparently, his agent told him that he was getting traded to the Lakers, right? And he's like, "Oh, sweet!" So we had a couple drinks. Agent called him like 2 or 3 hours later. "Oh yeah, it's a done deal. We're gonna have you come in, tomorrow to sign the paperwork and this, that, and the other." So he started celebrating, started drinking more and drinking more and drinking more. And I guess at 4 o'clock he called and said, "Yeah. Well, the Sixers got cold feet and they don't want to trade now." Which means you have a game tonight at like 9 o'clock. Apparently, he was drunk off his ass. So he didn't intend to like play the game drunk. He thought he had the night off.
Yeah, it's still like during that time period, things were way different. I doubt you saw much of the Last Dance, the documentary on basically the 2 3-peats of the Bulls. But like when Jordan initially got to the Bulls in like 85, 86, apparently that team had quite the reputation of like basically right after the game in the hotel, like all they were doing were just railing lines, and getting drunk and smoking, and yeah, they were quite the athletes back in the day.
I assume they sucked as a professional team during that period because that's not the sort of thing you can do on a regular basis and still be athletically able.
Well, yeah, that's why they were able to draft Michael Jordan. They were one of the 3 worst teams in the league.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, basketball, that's pretty impressive, although the article said they couldn't figure out which game he'd done it on but he had several horrible games around that time period, so it could have been any one of those. Oh, and he didn't, and he didn't even say he did poorly, so he might have did all right that day. You never know. But there are all kinds of sports where you can get away with that, probably, as long as you're not too terribly tanked. Bowling comes to mind. I think half of them have to be drunk to be on their A game.
Well, there's a bunch of that stuff. There's a fine line you can walk. Like if you're just slightly buzzed, there's a lot of those activities that you can do really, really well. It's once you pass that, tipping point of between buzzed and drunk off your ass that things go to shit.
Yeah, because I'm sure we've all been there when we've had a drink or two and fucking you just seem to be in the zone for whatever you're doing. And it happens a couple times, and all of a sudden you're like, "Yeah, I need to have 2 or 3 drinks to really play this game well." And in reality, that's not the case. You just had a good mental spot at one time with those couple drinks in you. And that normally is shortly followed by you having way too many drinks to do whatever you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, there is that butter zone, right?
Yeah, if I get just a slight buzz going, I am at least twice as good at both pool and golf.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Which is because those are those sports that it's like 90% mental. So as long as you don't fuck up your, coordination too badly with the drinking, it can probably help. It's funny. People say that marijuana is not a performance enhancing drug. And obviously on the surface, it's not. But I do believe it probably does help some people in their athletic endeavors. I'm sure Diaz would probably tell you that they do everything better high.
A shit ton of high-level grapplers like to get high before they roll. Part of it's just, having kind of that relaxed mentality and just kind of going with the flow. Where you can run into issues is obviously it messes with your reaction time. So it's not something that a sport that you need that high level reaction time. It's something that you'd want to be on like during competition. But yeah, there's definite uses for it.
Right, right. And there are people that will even argue that it affects their reaction time. I can't speak on that because I've never done like the Google search to find out whether it's true or not, because you hear that a lot. But unless I read a study on it, I take up almost everything like that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I've read some study on it. I don't remember much of it because it wasn't anything that was like really new or non-logical information. But there's definitely a hit to reaction time, but everything else is relaxed. It's kind of the same thing so Chris Duffin came out with the idea of whiskey and deadlifts. And like, I definitely took that on, and basically anytime that I'm going to be deadlifting super heavy, like you take a shot of good whiskey, just a couple minutes before your lift, and you will actually see a better result. And part of it is just kind of calming down the nervous system a little bit, making it to where you're not getting inside your own head thinking, hey, I'm about to lift, 650 pounds off the floor. And if I mess it up, I'm going to destroy my back. Like, those aren't thoughts you need to be having. So just that little bit of the liquid courage helps out.
Oh yeah, I can imagine so. I found that to be the case where with smoking pot, with my weightlifting, it doesn't. At least it doesn't hurt it. Some days it probably doesn't help it. Other days it does. Cardio, on the other hand, I do not like doing that while I'm high, because one of the few stereotypes and beliefs about marijuana that is true is it is 100% a motivation killer. You can fight through it, especially if you've got a pretty good tolerance. But I firmly believe that it makes me less wanting to do stuff like cardio, because that's the case whenever I smoke and do cardio, it sucks way more if I'm high. If I'm sober, I can just push through it a lot easier. When I'm high, it seems like it takes longer. It's harder to, you would think it'd be easier to focus on other things besides the cardio, but for me, it's harder in a lot of ways. So I just would rather be sober for if I have to do any kind of cardio.
Well, and doesn't part of that have to do with what strain you're taking?
Oh yeah, definitely.
As far as indica versus sativa?
Yes, indica is supposed to be more of a body buzz. Like that's what they call the couch lock sort of thing. The type of weed that supposedly removes your motivation. And sativa is supposed to be more of a head buzz, affect you mentally, but while still without making you tired. So people like to have sativa if they're going to be active, indica if they're chilling out. The thing is, almost every strain of pot out there is a mix of both. For if nothing else, sativas don't grow well traditionally. They're harder to grow. They normally have a lot less yield per plant. So what happens is, for the most part, they get mixed with different indicas. So you'll have stuff that's indica dominant or sativa dominant, but for the most part, it's almost always indica dominant. You have to actually go looking for sativa dominant strains if that's just the sort of thing that you want.
Yeah, I'm with you though as far as like the cardio thing. I doubt that any treadmill out there goes to like a -2 setting. So I'm sure doing it high is no fun.
No, yeah, exactly. I can barely get it up to 2. Yeah, speaking
That's
of
what
things
she
I'm
said.
not good at. Yeah, speaking of things that I'm not very good at, today I tried and failed at yard work, mostly because it involved a shovel. There's a tree growing up right beside my house, like right next to the foundation, and also like right next to a drain pipe that's coming out of it. So today I decided to remove it and failed. It's about I don't know, about an inch thick, and probably about like 6 feet tall. So I just bent it over sideways. You could push it. Whoops! You can push it to the ground pretty easy. Tried stomping on it. It was too green. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do about that? So I grabbed a shovel. First, I tried to. Unfortunately, it was a shovel with a curved blade. So my attempts to just like try to cut through the branch / trunk failed miserably. So then I decided to use the shovel in its traditional use to try to dig out from underneath it, and possibly I could pop it out. And that didn't work either. I got about a foot down, and it's still pretty thick down there, and I wasn't reaching a root ball or wherever the fuck it is. And at that point, I beat the fuck out of it enough that I'm pretty sure it's not growing for a couple days. So I decided I need different equipment for this job, possibly some sort of saw or clippers or immigrant, something to work on it.
You embracing the illegals, huh?
They're not illegal, and everyone at work tells me I'm crazy if I don't use them for this kind of shit. They are not cheap. But the thing is, they do really good work and they work really fast. Sort of like this. How I told you with my tattoo artist friend has to charge a lot per hour because he works very fast. Otherwise, he doesn't really make any money. Same thing with these guys. They charge a fair amount per hour. I think there was like $50 or $75 an hour or something like that. But they will blow out a job like nobody's business. So you get what you pay for, and obviously they know what they're doing. They work at like a top level country club in the groundskeeping department, so you're going to get good quality work, and your supplies you'll probably get from our work because not they don't steal them, but the groundskeeping supervisor will let them order stuff if they want to, obviously.
I don't know, 50, $60 an hour for somebody blowing it out. That doesn't sound like that bad of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going to spend money, but you're going to get good value for it, and they'll knock it out pretty quick. Yeah. How much? Did I ever mention how much my guy charges? For here, it's a fair amount. Over where you are at, it might even not be considered all that much. He does $150 an hour.
It depends on who you're going to. If they're relatively well known, you're probably looking, 150 or higher. A lot of places are in kind of that sweet spot around like 125 an hour ish.
Right. I looked it up. Like you can do a Google search on how much should a tattoo artist charge, and for his experience level, because at this point I think he's got to be somewhere between 18 and 20 years. He's right where he's supposed to be, like the 150 to 175 an hour thing, if nothing else, because of his experience level. Fame wise, he's done a couple tattoo conventions, and the last couple summers he did some stuff involved with Ink magazine and this, that, and the other. But obviously, as far as fame goes, no one's probably ever heard of him.
Yeah, the way generally I'll do it is I'll reach out to the artist that I want to work with and see if I can book a little bit of a deal where I'm going to say I'm basically just going to take your whole day. And you don't have to worry about trying to, book anybody else or worrying about people flaking, and just give me a little bit of a break and I'll just sit there till we're done.
Right. Mine works not mine since I use the same guy, works the exact opposite way. Other than the ones that he'll give me for my birthday and Christmas and shit like that, what he'll do is call me in. He knows what days I have off, and if he happens to have no openings, no people coming in on a day that I have off, sometimes I'll call up and say, "Hey, man, you want to come and get some work done?" I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, I'll give you a good deal, man. I got nothing going on." I'm like, okay, we'll go and get some shit done. It's funny, the OG, a lot of people dog on his work because they don't like the subject matter that I've picked. Very few of them actually realize, the quality of the work that he's doing, because they look at a Simpsons tattoo or a Futurama tattoo, and they're like, which can be pretty simplistic, obviously. They're like, oh, this guy's low level. I'm like, dude, if you clearly don't know anything about actual tattoo work, this guy does excellent work. His line work's excellent. His color shading is fucking on point. And anyone who says he's not doing good work doesn't know tattoo shit.
Well, goddamn, Jay. But no, I've seen it. Like most of your work that at least most of the recent work you posted, yes, technically is decent work. Obviously, we're always going to, try to figure out what the hell you're thinking about some of your choices. But the actual implementation of those choices is not bad at all.
Right. And of course, I am only speaking of his original works. He's done as much, if not maybe more, tattoo redos and cover-ups for me. Mostly redos, because they're past the point of you being able to cover them up. Like he'll go back into and add color and correct line work and shit like that on my older tattoos. Some of those are only going to be okay regardless of how much he works on it. His favorite phrase is, "Dude, I can only polish this turd so much. It's only going to shine so much. It is still a turd." So, which I can understand. But he has improved a couple tattoos that were barely even tattoos at this point.
Yeah, you definitely had some very prison-ish looking tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. And they were, because they're old, they were faded. Some of them were decent tattoos, when I first got them. But the issue being not the guy's artistry work, but the guy's skill as a tattooist, because obviously quite a few of them weren't deep enough. They, I am not in my 70s, which is what some of my tattoos look like. You're like, oh, dude, you got old school tattoos. I'm like, yeah, but they shouldn't be this old school, dude. That tattoo is 15 years old. It looks like it's fucking 40 years old. You can't tell what the fuck it is. But when I first got it, it was pretty good and had some nice detail and things like that.
Well, yeah,
But,
rotary phones used to be the shit, but
Right.
yeah, it's not that time anymore.
Right. And well, that, like I said, that was just the case. In this case, the guy was a good artist, but not a good tattoo artist.
And that's why
So,
you always
but-
got to look into that. Like, that's the biggest thing. If I could give advice to anyone when they're thinking about even getting their first tattoo, like, I'm not going to fault you for your bad choice that you make as far as what you get, but at least take the time and vet who you're getting it from.
Yep, 100%. Because while there's good advancements on tattoo removal, and people are way better at tattoo cover-ups than they used to be. In my case, a lot of it's because mine end up working out fairly good just because of how faded they were. But you also got to remember that's tattoos from a while ago, and the ink technology has advanced significantly in the last 10 to 20 years. So just because I got my shit covered up, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to. So that shitty choice that you made with the shitty artist might be around for a really long time because he had good ink.
But you should always make that assumption that if you're getting a tattoo, it's going to be there forever, because that's what they're designed to do.
Exactly. Like I said, I got lucky in certain ways because of how the technology advancing to the point where the new inks were a lot stronger and able to cover up the older shit. But that being the case, that's not what you should be able to assume that's going to happen. And as I think we've mentioned before, I think we talked about where they go. Always get it on the shoulder. Always get it on the shoulder for your first one. That'll let you know whether or not you want other tattoos. Hold on a second, I get a drink of water. I'm parched.
I still will never forget when I was getting the half sleeve on my left arm done. The woman that came in and for her first tattoo was getting a Batman symbol on her chest.
Oh.
That lasted about 8 minutes before she tapped out. So she has this like 1/14 of an outline of a Batman symbol for the rest of her life. Yeah, that.
And it will be the rest of her life too, because that shit does not go away just because you didn't get it finished. And of course, she picked a horrible spot in multiple ways. One, as far as like pain goes, that's a horrible spot. Two, depending on where she had it done, it's going to be visible with almost everything she wears. I'm not a fan of women getting torso tattoos in the first place, really. I like women with arm tattoos and leg tattoos and things like that. But for some reason, I'm not a big fan of like anything in the torso area or anything like that. I think basically if it's any of the parts that you normally cover up and that I want to see, I don't want tattoos on them.
You tattooist.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, if you can cover that up with a bathing suit, don't tattoo it. Okay, you just tattoo the arms and legs. Women look hot that way. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I don't know why. It just doesn't appeal to me in the least bit. Which obviously I'm not against tattoos. Just not. It just doesn't look right to me. I don't know.
I'm
I
fine
guess
with
I'm,
it as long as it's a
hypocritical.
good tattoo. I think the only one that like kind of trips me out just because it's not really like an original idea and I don't get it. Have you seen any of the girls that get the heart tattoos over their nipples?
No.
So their nipple is a
no.
heart?
Oh no, that doesn't sound right at all. No, I mean, and I guess like a couple things doesn't bother me. Like if you've got like cursive written down the side of your ribs, or like or something small on your back or your shoulder blades. Or actually, you can even do a lot of stuff on your back, and it wouldn't bother me at all. It's when they put it on the front parts. Like I said, don't fuck up the good parts. That's the parts I want to see. Don't cover them up. No, I spent all this time trying to get this lady naked, and she's still fucking wearing clothes.
You are such an old white man.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
I mean, what's
let's
the
see
male
what-
version of Karen? Like, are you a Michael? Is that what we would call him?
Michael. No, I'm not. I'm pretty good with customer service people. I'm not one of those type because it's what I do for a living. So I try to be very polite and kind to people that work with the public because I don't want to be hypocritical, obviously.
Unless there's a tattoo on that titty, then Jay goes full Michael.
God damn it, Rich. Oh, let's see. Is it bad that it's reached a point where I make fun of people on Facebook? It's one of my favorite things. I don't post anything bad about them and stuff. I just make fun of them in my head. Today's thing that I wanted to make fun of is people that post memes that tell you how awesome they are. Have you seen it? Have you seen this?
Well, yeah, but when I do it, it's not an actual meme. I am really just letting the world know, God damn, I am great.
Right. Like for, oh, did I miss one of them? Oh, I thought I had two. I think I missed the best one of them. But all these, like for example, one of the funniest ones are the fierce mom memes. The ones where they say, I may be a sweetheart most of the time, but if you hurt my kids, I will be your worst nightmare. And this is from like a 5'4" chick that's 30 pounds overweight, or or the ones that that pat themselves on the back. They're like, I've seen this posted today. For the amount of shit I've been through, I really have a beautiful soul. I'm slightly damaged, but I still have a heart of gold. Who the fuck posts that sort of shit? You really think that much of yourself that you got to post a fucking meme on Facebook telling everybody about it?
I mean,
am I the only one that thinks that's stupid and fucking arrogant?
It's Facebook. That's what people do.
I mean, okay. I would have thought that I didn't know anybody that would do that kind of thing, but apparently I do. And it's always the funny, like that last one is almost definitely always going to be from a single or divorced lady in her 40s, who has, whose man left her and now she needs to justify her existence by saying how awesome she is. Or another good one is, and this one I feel kind of bad about because this is a person who's had a fucking hard time for the past couple of years, and I don't want to get too specific because God forbid they find out I'm talking about them. But the thing to keep in mind that throughout this hard time they've had in the past couple of years, people have been helping her constantly. That has been a theme because they can't work, she can't work, and yada yada. Like I said, don't get too much into it. But then she went ahead and posted this. The hardest pill I had to swallow this year is learning how to pick myself back up and how to cope with all the people who I thought would be in my life for a long time. Only to realize that you have to do it for yourself, and the only person that will put you back on your feet is you. Like, oh, holy shit, dude! You way to fucking insult everybody that's helped you in the last 3 or 4 years when you couldn't do anything for yourself, and needed the constant support of other people. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, is that just me, dude?
Again, it's Facebook. This is literally what Facebook is posts on Facebook are basically people looking for attention. And these are people that want the pat on the back to go, oh, you're doing great. Yay, you.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I do that myself occasionally when I'm feeling down. As I mentioned, I posted about it on Facebook a couple weeks ago when I was feeling depressed about all the weight that I lost. But I certainly don't do it every day or multiple times a day like most of these people seem to do. I try not to because I realize how that looks when I read other people do it. Every once in a while, I feel sorry for you. If it's every day, well, then, dude, I'm getting tired of fucking hearing it, which is why people like that get that complaint. Oh, no one's there for me. Well, dude, people were there for you years and years and years. Eventually, they get tired of listening to it. I can only feel sorry for you so much. I mean, you saying it again doesn't make me more sorry for you. It actually makes me less sorry for you now, just because I'm getting tired of hearing it. And that's why people like that lose friends and end up posting memes like that about how nobody's there for them.
Yeah, I have no time for any of that. So Jay, are you a Reddit person at all?
No, I tried to get into it a couple times, and I've clicked on links to Reddit, so I kind of understand the concept of of how it works. Even though the reply things and how it's structured, it's kind of confusing. But I've never really been on it for any significant amount of time. Why do you ask?
So I think there's one that you may enjoy that are people that think they're complete badasses and they post the most cringy shit. It's a subreddit called I Am Very Badass. So just reddit.com/r/I Am Very Badass and just read and laugh.
Ooh, excuse me. Oh, that was easy enough to find, wasn't it? Reddit. I am very badass. Walking. Do. Oh, okay. So, it's a whole bunch of memes and shit, huh?
Well, yeah, basically it's people that see this same crap that you do, only they take the best of the best and post it on Reddit for people to, look and laugh at the idiots.
Yeah. Bear arms. That was the first thing I ran into. Like BEAR.
Stupid people are fucking dumb.
Yeah. That's okay. Whatever, right?
So did you
you
see?
get any plans for your... Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, did you see that they're starting to put some more cards together for UFC here in June?
No, yeah. My friend Roxy had her fight announced officially. She's fighting Lauren Murphy. I think June 20th. Is it?
Yeah, I think the main
Saskatchewan or something like that.
I think what's currently the main event on that card, and this is sad that this is a main event, is God, who was it? Jessica I and Cynthia Calvillo.
Oh my, really?
Yeah, that shows they completely blew their wad with UFC 249, and then Jones, fakes retirement. Cejudo essentially fakes retirement. Like, they really need some star power here.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit! You know that Courtney Casey chick that fought last week?
Yeah,
she's fighting June 20th.
See,
That's a pretty quick fucking. I think the issue being they only have a certain amount of athletes that are willing to compete with the weird fucked up camps they're having.
Right, you can understand it, but they're just basically gonna be turning people. It's gonna be an entire roster of cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, can you fight every week on the week?
Yes, you can. Okay, you're hired. We got you penciled in for the let's see, the 15th, the 20th, the 27th. Yeah. But looking at it, I saw some odds, and apparently for the odds makers are figuring out that Roxanne shouldn't be the underdog. So I think she's at like minus 120 or 130 at the moment.
Said she was fighting Lauren Murphy.
Yeah,
I think she probably should be the favorite in that one. Lauren Murphy, well, I guess she doesn't have that terrible of a record.
No, she's 3 out of 4 for her last wins against Angela or Andrea Lee. I can't remember how to say her first name.
Andrea's not a hard name to say, Jay.
Is it? Andrea. I wasn't sure if that was her name. I should have said I have a hard time remembering. And she fought her. Excuse me, I got to click back on it. M. Romero Borella, and she won that one. A loss to Eubanks and a loss to she lost her last two to Chunigan.
That's not even anywhere close to how you say that.
Well, prove me wrong. How do you say it?
Caitlin Shukagian.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess they need to put like a little enunciation mark over that part so I know to break it up like that. Oh, let's see. I thought you were
I thought you were the big women's MMA fan. Like, you should have heard these names over and over and been able to pronounce them.
Yeah, you'd think, but nope. That's okay. Roxanne's going to take that pretty easy. She hasn't been able to train, obviously, the traditional things, but I think in a lot of ways this is going to help her. One second, I got to take a drink of water before I... Oh, Jesus, God.
Jesus, you going to be okay there? You go from shitting yourself a couple days ago to losing a lung live on air.
Yeah, that was horrible. But I think Roxanne's going to take this pretty easy. She hasn't been able to train just like everybody else. So she hasn't been able to get training partners and sparring and working on her skills. The thing is, what she has been able to do is strength training. She picked out the couple people that she was going to be exposed with, and they're all quarantine buddies. So she does have a group of like 4 or 5 people that she works with or something like that. And so she's been focusing on almost exclusively strength training right now, which is good because as far as I'm concerned, skills wise, she's ahead of the vast majority of her division. There's very few people in her division that have better skills than her. So for her to focus on her strength training is perfect, and it's working. She looks like a beast lately. So I think she's going to come into the ring and basically just fucking ragdoll Murphy.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was gonna bet, I would probably bet Modafferi, but you never know in women's MMA. Like, it's such a crapshoot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think Roxy has a good enough chin, and 125 isn't as husky as some of the other weight classes. So I don't think she's going to get like a lucky knockout on Roxy or anything like that. So it's probably going to either be Roxy submitting her, going to the decision, or possibly ground and pounding her out, because she does have a couple wins like that lately too.
Well, we absolutely know who your pick's going to be when we get there.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Other than that, it does look, man, they got lots. It's pretty much a female card at this point. Rachel, like you said, Rachel Pennington versus Renew, Gillis and Robertson with
Rachel Pennington. Who the hell is that?
Raquel. I said Raquel.
No, you said Rachel.
Dude, you gotta listen harder, dude. Gillian Robertson versus Courtney Casey.
Jillian.
Yeah, Torres fighting Brianna Von Buren. I can't say her first name.
Tisha?
Torres. Yeah, Tisha. Thank you. Yeah, I like Tisha Torres. She seems cool. She was funny on the season Ultimate Fighter that she was on. And then Roxanne versus Murphy. So right now, half the card is fucking female fights, which doesn't bother me at all, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to go over well.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be where it lands. There'll be some other fights added to that, but yeah, these cards, like I love that mixed martial arts is back. It gets something to new to watch, but like it's missing stars.
Yeah, most of them don't want to. The higher you up in the rankings, the less willing you are to risk not a full camp to do this shit, which makes sense. Dejusha had a question. He wanted to know, has there been any MMA fighters that have fought back-to-back cards? Like maybe the first card was an easy win with the early knockout. Didn't Chris Lieben do that?
There have been some that are probably close. Since they've gone to such recent cards, I don't think so. But yeah, back when they were like a good month and a half apart, there have definitely been some. Beyond that, especially Pride, like early Prides, every Pride, it was basically the same fighters, just mixed up matchups.
Right. I'm trying to look up Lieben about this one right now. Let's see. Well, there was one time. Well, kinda, yeah. Might have been, yeah, because he fought on June 19th in 2010, and then July 3rd in 2010. So
yeah, it sounds like it was probably it was probably a late replacement on the second one. There've been a few people that have done that. I wouldn't put it past Cowboy or Angela Hill as a woman's example.
Yeah. She wants to fight again right now. Yeah, she's good at avoiding damage. So she's up for fighting pretty much every time you give her the opportunity. So it does look like they are going to go forward with Fight Island. Dana keeps on saying over and over again that it's a real thing. I don't know why at this point, since they can have events in other spots. So it's not like they need to have a Fight Island. A publicity stunt would be about the only reason I can think at this point.
Well, there's yes and no. Like, there definitely is the publicity aspect of it, but if they can build something that they're able to essentially kind of quarantine everyone as they come in, like it's really the safest thing to do until we get to the point where you can have fans back at these things.
So you think so? The fact that they I just don't see how it'd be any different than any of the arenas that they're using, or like their own arena, the Apex Performance Center or whatever the hell they call it, their little ring on their own property.
Right.
So obviously they could use that.
Well, they could. This just kind of simplifies everything, though. Like, they're doing it somewhere where they have like control of the local hotels there. They have everyone staffed up. It's going to be like their own building essentially. So I think part of it is kind of a cost thing, that the initial setup is obviously expensive, but I think it's probably a way to control their costs and get kind of an infrastructure in place. Whether or not it ends up being the right call, like, we don't know how long it's going to be until you can get, an arena full of people again. So I guess that'll be like when we look at this in hindsight, like that'll be the deciding factor of did they get Fight Island up only for Vegas to reopen like in its entirety 2 months later? Well, then yeah, it was a bad call.
Yeah. And speaking of Vegas, I got a friend that lives there. That was taking pictures the other day. They went to go get something to eat at the Fremont Experience because I guess things are opening up a little bit there. And I don't know if I think you said you've been to the Fremont Experience as well. There was fucking nobody there. It looked really fucking weird and spooky. Yeah, just a place that at any time of the day, even at like 3 a.m, that has people at it, have nobody there at all.
Yeah, like there have been some weird pictures out there. Like you'll see things like that, but then you'll also see these pictures like out of California where like God, where was it? Maybe it was San Jose. But there are pictures of like just people fucking everywhere walking around, no masks, no anything. And the interesting thing is like if you look at the people that seem to be flocking back to things, they're the people that should probably be most concerned. Like generally they look like they're, 30, 40 pounds overweight, like not in the best health, but like they're out there just kind of just saying screw it, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of people are sick of staying in. A lot of people actually think that the risk of the virus has been overstated. So that being the case, they don't think they are risking that much. And the truth is somewhere in between. Yes, the virus has been overstated. I think closing down the country was a great big overreaction that's going to cost us for years and years and years. But on the other hand, it 100% did save lives. So I guess it depends on how much you weigh the economy against lives about whether or not we got the right balance or not.
Well, we're about to hit 100,000 people dead from it, so there is that, and that's with everything being shut down. Like you can see where the problem is you can't trust people to do the right thing. Like you have it now with people that like went to these gigantic church services when everything was supposed to be locked down. Like there was the story of the one church that has 20 some deaths now from a bunch of services they had. But like in America, we can't fucking trust people to just stay home if they're in an at-risk, demographic. So instead, we have to lock everything else down to, stupid-proof everyone else. It's the same idea with, like, we have people freaking out about wearing a fucking mask and shooting people over it. Like, we have too many stupid people that can't follow direction.
Yeah, and it's funny that they're like, oh, I don't have to wear my mask. Well, dude, it's a safety thing. Oh, well, no, well, just because a lot of them seem like they don't want to wear masks just because you tell them that they have to. But they don't have a problem when you like tell them they have to put on their seatbelt when they ride on a plane. And shit like that. It's like they want to be selective about what safety measures they use. And I realize it's because they think it's not a danger to them. And we've had this conversation over and over again. That just makes you a rude motherfucker. Because how about be polite to other people? I myself am not particularly scared of the virus. I don't think I'm going to get it, and I wouldn't be all that concerned if I did get it. I wear a mask in public because it makes other people feel better. The vast majority of the people out here are scared of that shit and they don't want other people giving it to them. So that's why I wear a mask, because I don't want someone going, oh shit, that guy ain't got a mask. Maybe I'm going to get sick. I don't want to stress somebody out like that. It's just easier to wear a mask.
Well, that and it's the idea that, yes, everyone has rights, but when your right starts to trample on someone else's right, you're a piece of shit. And that's what this is. Like, yes, you can say, well, I have the right not to wear a mask if I don't want to. Well, no, because then you're infringing on the person's right that's standing there that is wearing a mask that doesn't want you to get them sick.
Right, exactly. I have the right for you not to infect me. How about that for a right? My right supersedes your right because my right doesn't harm you. Your right might harm me. So let's prioritize our rights at this point.
Yeah, stupid people are dumb. Like, it's just the running idea. Like, that should just replace e pluribus unum on all of our currency. Just stupid people are dumb. America.
Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing. Once again, the only saving grace for America is it's better than every place else.
I don't know. Give me a nice beach in Costa Rica, and I'll renounce citizenship tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? I still have never done the tropical thing, so I'll have to take your word on that. One day, that's one life goal for me and the wife.
Mind
And
you,
I don't
I'm going to keep my 401k and I'm going to keep my pension. I'm just going to, live in Costa Rica.
Right, exactly. Yeah, one day, yeah, I don't count the trip to Florida in the middle of winter as tropical for me, so I've never been to a tropical place, and I've always wanted to enjoy it at least once before I die. So that's one of the things me and my wife are working on at some point, maybe in a couple years.
Surprised you've never gone to Japan and just totally nerded out like the nerd that you are.
I would love to go to Japan. I'd be a fucking superhero over there, practically. Yeah. Uh, I at one point I was tempted to because apparently you could make at least a decent living trying to teach English there, even if you know almost no Japanese at all. So I don't understand how that would work because I'm not speaking Japanese. But they said there's other jobs like it's popular for bars to hire Americans as their bartender. So basically, all you need to know is different Japanese drinks. You can make a decent living there just because Americans are a spectacle in Japan, and I'd be more of a spectacle than most. So
Yeah, the only problem there is like nothing would be your size.
yeah, exactly. It'd be like being Andre the Giant without not quite that bad, but still the same realm of things. Nothing would I wouldn't fit in any places at all. Supposedly, in lots of places, tattoos are frowned on. I guess.
I don't know too much about that. I just know that things just aren't built for large people. Like I've been there and it was kind of a pain in the ass, but it was interesting just to go there.
Yeah, I'd love to go there. It'd be pretty cool on several different levels. Both the anime thing, just because it's such a different culture and way of life. It'd be a totally different experience than I imagined going to some place in Europe or England or any place like that. Because even though it's a different culture, our culture branched off from the Europeans and the Londonians and the people from the United Kingdoms and such. Wow, I can't speak Japanese.
Yeah, now imagine you trying to teach English in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be very good at it. The Japanese, on the other hand, have added very little to our culture other than recently within the last 50 years. So going there and being exposed to that I imagine would be very alien on a lot of different levels.
I don't really know about that. Like everything. So I went and God, when was it? Now I'm gonna have to look it up. I think it was 2005. Yes, it would have been August in 2005 was when I went.
Yeah.
Went and saw Pride Final Conflict 2005. God, that was fun.
Wow, yeah, I imagine it must have been. That'd be a sweet event to go to. That was the only reason you went to Japan, just to watch that event?
Absolutely. Well, like I had been planning it for a while. Like it sounded like a fun thing to do. But yeah, went and watched Final Conflict. Got to watch Fedor beat Krokop. Fun night.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty legendary. Oh shit! Look at the time. It's time to end the show. You got anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Let's see. I'm sure we have a couple things here. Happy holiday tomorrow to everyone. For anyone, obviously, that knows anyone that did serve, give them a thanks or a pat on the back tomorrow. Don't push them. Grill out some good food. Enjoy yourselves. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, but if you decide to, please name it after me. And the second thing, fuck all y'all.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Screw you, hippie!